Welcome to Toxicology, brought to you by Recovery Unplugged, the place where we talk about all things substance abuse, recovery, and mental health, with guests offering varying perspectives and viewpoints. Hosts Joseph Gordo and Jason Cabello share about their addiction and recovery and other serious subject matter through lighthearted yet candid conversation.
All right, ready?
All right.
Okay.
One, two, three, shoot.
You always throw rock, and I always.
Well, maybe you should learn from your mistakes.
Sometimes I think if I'm thinking ahead, I remember. Anyway,
Is it insanity?
Yeah, it's insanity. Welcome to another wonderful episode of Toxicology, the latest and greatest podcast about mental health, addiction, and recovery. I am Joseph Gordo, your host.
Who just assumed that I didn't want to do the intro.
Oh, fuck me.
That's okay.
And this is Jason Cabello, the hostess with the mostest.
Jason the Rock Cabello, because of my
the
rock,
Rock.
paper, scissors game.
And Joseph Skizzers. How you doing, brother?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing all right.
Are you? I know last week we came in here just on fire, just up and going.
Yeah.
I'm feeling pretty good today.
Oh
too.
man, you know what? I am too.
Good.
Which is real weird because the past week
It's been a rough one.
Has been interesting.
Yeah,
It's been interesting. There's I don't know how much detail I can go into without getting in trouble.
yeah.
Oh yeah, no,
Okay.
no, I probably shouldn't.
All right.
It's just been interesting, but you know what? We roll with it. You know,
You do.
none of the problems are actually mine. It's people around me having problems.
Can't control people, places, or things.
No, not at all. And you know what? I think December does something to people.
It does.
Like I'm not into like full moons and
Hocus
when
pocus and-
Mercury's in retrograde or whatever, but I really the holiday blues seems to be like a real thing.
It is, and I see it happening to me. And I love winter. I love the holidays.
Yeah.
But lately, I've been listening to that Eagles Christmas song, "Please Come Home for Christmas," and he sings this part. He was like, "My baby's gone. I have no friends," and I'm just, I get homesick too, because I didn't love living in South Florida, but now that I'm gone.
Yeah,
And, and it, not to get too heavy about it, but, you get older and your family gets kind of smaller and things get it's not the same as it used to be and get really nostalgic. And I could see it, I could see how it brings some people down, but, luckily, thank God I don't suffer from depression or anything like that. It just gets me a little sappy.
Yeah. I tend to be a little sentimental around Christmas, but growing up for me, I kind of had the opposite thing that you did. Growing up, it was really me, my mom, my grandma, my brother.
Okay.
Right? I had a big family, but as far as Christmas went, it was usually just the four of us. And it was, we didn't have a ton of money. So handful of presents, my grandma would put on a lunch, but nothing crazy. And that was kind of it, I think. But nowadays, it's bigger than it used to be, right? We do Christmas 3 times.
Wow.
We do a Christmas Eve lunch with my mom and do presents with them. Then we go to my mother-in-law's house, spend the night, do Christmas morning with her. And then later on Christmas Day, we do something with the cousins. So the kids get...
That's awesome for the kids.
Yeah, it's awesome for the kids.
And they're still, at least the youngest is still young enough to really get a lot out of Christmas. Or,
oh yeah. I mean, she thinks Santa's real. We do the elf thing, the elf on the shelf. And so the thing with the elf on the shelf is that you forget about it after a while, right? And so as a parent, it's 11 o'clock at night, you're half asleep, and you're like, wait,
the fucking elf.
And you got to get up and try to think of something cute to do with it. But we've recruited the older boys, and now they're the ones who do the elf every night.
So you've had the practice twice.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
When are you going to have the talk to when you say, listen, Santa Claus is not real, and then run the risk of your young, beautiful daughter looking you in the eyes and said, you fucking lied to me.
We've actually never had the talk.
I know. But
not even Harper.
Oh.
I mean, I think they just kind of figured it out.
So your kids are off to college still thinking that Santa Claus is going to
yeah, well, I mean,
may come?
Harper knows Santa's not real. Jackson, when I was like, Jackson, you're going to help with the elf this year. He goes, I knew they weren't real. And he goes, wait, what about Santa? And I was like, no, Santa's real.
My mom to this day still won't admit that it's not real. She's like, the spirit of Christmas is absolutely real.
Spirit of Christmas.
The spirit of, okay, yeah.
What's your favorite Christmas song, Jay?
My favorite Christmas song, like old-timey song would be Silent Night.
Uh-huh.
And then
but like Bing Crosby Silent Night? Elvis Silent Night?
There's actually a new version of it that I like by Sasami, I think the name of the artist is. And Low, Just Like Christmas. That's my jam.
So I've got a lot. So if I had to pick one, it would be Oi to the World by No Doubt.
Okay.
Because that is hands down the greatest bass solo in a Christmas song.
Father Christmas by the Kinks. That's a great one.
That's a solid one.
Yeah.
Oi to the World. I love any of the old Bing Crosby ones, get me?
Yeah.
But more modern times, what I find myself telling Alexa to do is play the Pentatonics Christmas album.
I've never listened, but
they do a hallelujah that will make you weep.
Really? Because I do like some acapella. And,
it's not cool, but it
says
great.
Who?
Acapella's not cool. It's not.
Are you kidding me?
No, it's not the kids.
I feel like you just told me that Santa Claus isn't real.
No, as the kids nowadays would say, acapella does not fuck.
You heard it here first.
You know, the kids these days, though, did you know that fucks means like super cool? Like good?
I do. I've heard. Yeah.
I was at a concert last year and with and we made friends with these two younger folks that were kind of in the crowd near us, right? It was me and Chelsea, and she makes friends with people, right?
Yeah.
And girl, probably 24, maybe 25, her and her boyfriend, we're getting along good, and Weezer's playing, and I'm almost 40. I'm like, fucking Weezer, yeah. And Rivers Cuomo starts shredding a guitar solo, and the girl looks at me and she goes, that guy fucks. And I'm like, do I go like, yeah, or do I go like is that good? I had no clue.
You had to look it up. Are you like an Urban Dictionary like that?
Oh,
or even better, you're like, Alexa, Urban Dictionary. Yeah. This guy fucks.
This guy fucks.
Hey, so last week, I know I did a little gratitude list of people that helped the show run, and I forgot to. So, I'm doing some step work, and I'm checking stuff. I forgot Dominic Nicosia, our content writer.
Nicosia?
Yeah.
It's not Nicosia?
He says Nicosia.
Well, then he's
Nicosia. Right. So I will just... And where we record this podcast, Permanent Record... Grant and Mike at Permanent Record Studios in Austin, Texas.
I don't know who Mike is. I don't think I've ever met Mike.
When we first came in, you did. But
anyway, Grant's my guy. I like Grant.
Thank you guys for always being there and catching our mistakes and stuff like that. And I just wanted to say thank you.
Yeah. Speaking of folks, today we did things a little backwards. We're doing the intro after we do.
Oh my God! Don't give away the Hollywood fucking magic. Joseph.
All right, Jason, we have an amazing guest with us today.
Who we did not interview yet.
We haven't interviewed her. She seems cool. I don't know. I've never spoken to her.
Speaking of Friday.
It's Thursday. What are you talking about?
Well, go ahead now.
I'm excited about today's guest. A lot of firsts for us. She's our first remote guest from the studio.
In this format, that's all we used to do was remote guests.
Yeah.
And then we upped it. But, time is a flat circle. We're going back to Zoom calls.
She's our first guest, to my knowledge, that has met both Bob Barker and Ice Cube in person.
And David Bowie. From what I'm imagining before interviewing her.
He's on her Wikipedia.
Yeah.
Has met Ice Cube. but wonderful actress, model, singer, icon. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, Mrs. Kathleen Bradley. Hey!
Wow.
Ooh,
we poofed you into some nice digs there.
Yeah, we've taken the podcast magic to a new level. Look at that.
Ladies and gentlemen, Kathleen Bradley.
Welcome to the show, Kathleen. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to talk to us silly guys down here in Austin.
Oh, thank you. Hey, you guys, it is really my utmost pleasure. And you guys, I've watched some of the shows and you're doing a fantastic job. And just everything that your company represents and dealing with and helping people in this traumatic times and days that we're going through right now with the drug addiction and the mental health and everything is so much needed. And through the internet and times that we're able to relate to people, you guys are awesome. And I'm thanking you for allowing me to get on the show. Hopefully I could be a little help to someone who's out there struggling.
Oh, I'm sure you will. Thank you so much.
That is the nicest thing anyone's ever said to us on this show.
We need to, from now on, we're going to show that clip to our future guests so they know to come on. And
this is the expectation.
butter us up a little bit. But I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
And you know what? The beautiful thing about what we do, though, is that everybody's story has something that's going to resonate with someone, you know? And as long as there's one person who hears this episode and is inspired or healed a little bit or makes a decision to do something positive, then we've all done our job.
And even, planting the seed is important because Kathleen, I went to treatment 20 times before I got my shit together.
He's an overachiever.
Yeah, and I had friends who were in the 12-step program, and just seeing them way before I was ready, but seeing somebody else do it and knowing that it was possible was always there in the back of my head. I wasn't ready, but knowing that it is possible, so somebody watching this now may get it a couple years from now, and that's the hope of this whole thing.
So, Kathleen, where are you joining us from today?
I am here in my home in Los Angeles, California. I'm originally from Ohio, though, but I moved out here when I was like 18, 19 years old, fresh out of high school, and I've been here ever since.
Oh, so you chased the Hollywood dream early, huh? You went out there to...
Oh, yes, I did. Absolutely. I knew I was getting out of Ohio. Youngstown, Girard area. It's about 65 miles east of Cleveland and near Pittsburgh, actually, Pennsylvania, right in between.
Oh, okay.
And, it's a great place to be brought up and raised in. I was so happy that I was there, and you get to experience all the seasons and things that really build your character and small knit schools and areas and communities back in that time and day. So it really helped me pave the way for my career.
Yeah. So were you one of those kids who halfway through high school, you were like, I'm getting out of here as soon as...
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
halfway through elementary school.
But you know what? I never would have made that move without my dear girlfriend, who's like my sister now, who we've been friends for over 55 years or more, that it was... her family, they just moved from Ohio to Los Angeles because her grandfather lived here. Oh. Had they not made and paved the way for me to be able to come and stay with someone, I really would not have had the audacity or gonads to be big enough to come here on my own.
So you were not the starstruck girl going out to LA knowing nobody with a suitcase and a dream. You had a suitcase and a dream, but you also had a place to stay
and a couch.
I was starstruck, but I made I was comfortable in knowing that I had someone here that would I can depend on, or a place to stay, and some people that knew people and everything. My cousin, she was very well hooked up. Terry Scott, she knew actually her husband, who's now deceased, but Bubba Scott, he was went to USC, and he's with the Trojans. He played and with OJ and Al Collins and Jimmy Gunn, and they're part of the the big horsemen or whatever they call them. I forget. But I was exposed to a lot of people and interesting folks here in Los Angeles when I first came.
Oh, yeah. So let's hear about a little bit of that. What was it like when you first came there and your introduction into the entertainment world?
Well, actually, when I came out here, I entered into a lot of pageants. I felt and figured, and I was in some when I was in Ohio, but when I got out here, I was just, feeling like I need to get out and get the exposure. I entered in everything I could. Miss Hot Pants, Miss Fine Brown Frame.
Didn't you? Weren't you Miss Ohio at one point?
Pardon?
Weren't you Miss Ohio, or you won one of the pageants, right?
No, I was Miss Black California.
Miss Black California, okay.
That's the best
that was,
California.
Jane Kennedy was Miss Ohio without the black. But I did manage to win Miss Black California here, which led me to the Miss Black America pageant, which actually through that I didn't win, but they chose 5 contestants out of the pageant. And we went with the Miss Black America USO tour to Vietnam.
Oh, wow.
Vietnam and Thailand. This was in 1971. Things had cooled down a little bit from the fighting over there, in Vietnam, which was the most horrific, horrible time that I indelible in my mind, and lost so many people in high school, folks and stuff that I'm sure everybody did who was back in that day, us baby boomers. But by going there, I had a great time visiting the troops and entertaining.
Right.
But prior to that, I did get a job here in LA at the Southern California Gas Company. They were paying pretty good money. As a matter of fact, my girlfriend who just retired, man, boy, did she make out well with her retirement.
She got that pension,
I
that
struggled
company
all
pension.
along. Yeah, but I struggled with the entertainment, but it was great. And, just being exposed to people and going to some of the nightclubs, the candy store, the sports page. All of the entertainers and people would come through there. It was just so much fun. Wilt Chamberlain and Jim Brown and Richard Pryor and athletes, comedians, and all kinds of people. I was starstruck.
Sounds like a lot of guys that like to party. Wilt Chamberlain, Richard Pryor, those guys, they could do it.
Yep. So that one thing after another kind of snowballed in my life and rolled right into situations, especially being a part of the Love Machine singing group that John Daniels is the manager and owner from this club called Mavericks Flat, which was like the West Coast Apollo. And he got a group together called the Love Machine, 7 girls singing, dancing. As a matter of fact, there's a lot of video right now on YouTube, people. You can go see the Love Machine. I was one of the primary lead singers. And it was so great. People just started posting stuff again. We were together. Well, I was in the group from 1971 to 1978.
Oh, wow.
And we were getting our cameras out, videotaping and doing things back then. But we did a lot of TV shows in Italy, Germany, Spain, Belgium, Sweden, Switzerland, Paris. And a lot of them are resurfacing.
Oh, that's fantastic.
It's incredible. Yeah.
So I have a question about the pageants. What was your talent?
Oh, my talent. I sang Rock Steady, baby. That's what I hear now. I sang in the pageant. And I also, the one here, though, I did the robot. Believe it or not.
Is that the booty shorts, Miss Booty Shorts?
I was good, though. I had my little clown look on.
Popping and locking back in the day.
Yeah, I know how to pop lock.
The rerun, as it's known now.
The rerun.
Right.
Oh, yes, yeah. I'll teach you later.
Okay. And everybody, all the people from Soul Train came through Mavericks Flat where we trained and worked out and everything. So, like I said, everybody was there. Pam Grier, the OJs came through Mavericks Flat, the Dramatics, the Temptations.
Wow.
All kind of people that I met.
Gladys Knight?
Yeah. Huh?
Gladys Knight?
Oh, Gladys Knight. Yeah, you name them. I don't think there was any stars in the 70s or whatever that didn't come through there. And also, we became part of Motown, the Love Machine. We were on Motown label.
Wow.
And sang there for a while.
So what haven't you done? I think we might be able to just shorten the interview by getting to that.
Oh, well.
A gas company, we got pageants, we got singing.
The singing group called Destination. there were three of us, me, Linda Theus, and Danny Lugo. He's passed on now, but we were with MCA Butterfly Records, and we did a remake up on Move On, da 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 da. It was the disco era, 76, 79.
The horn section on that song, killer.
They put it in all the clubs. It has that big old hard hitting disco beat to it and everything. So that group, we actually did the Merv Griffin show. We worked at the Copacabana in New York and several other places. So I have been traveled. I mean, I am worldly traveled and just very happy about that.
So when you were doing all that, you know, I know at some point there's a turn where things get rough, right? But when you were doing all that, it sounds like, were you still, you know, were you drinking and using? Were you kind of keeping it together? Just kind of a normal person in that world? Or kind of, what was that like?
Nothing, never normal, honey.
Yeah.
But let me tell you, and I know what the show is about. And actually, when I came to LA, I did meet, of course, everybody was doing cocaine back in the 70s. Oh my God. That's really was the height of doing it. And back in Ohio, of course, a little girl coming here. And at first, you know, I was offered it and what have you, but I never really wanted to, you know, try it at some point. And then if I did, I really, at first when I tried it and had it, I really didn't care for it that much. And though, but, you know, drinking, who wasn't drinking? My God, we love to drink. We'd have all of our shots and drinks. And my favorite was Long Island iced tea. Yeah. Because I always believe that if I'm going to drink or have a shot, I don't like to have a lot of mixed drinks, but I really want to get high right away, pretty much. Okay. And that's how I was. But later on, when I started traveling with the singing group, you know, from time to time, of course, we'd get exposed to drugs, people that would offer. And I remember one time in particular, we were working in Paris, France, and we always crossed paths with all these big entertainers and stuff, the Love Machine, that is. And we met David Bowie. Oh, David Bowie and his group and stuff were right in the same area we were working in. So we hooked up and we talked and stuff and everything. And I remember we were at this club and David, he took me into the men's bathroom and offered me some cocaine. Oh, I was stunned at that time. I was like, oh shit. First I'm thinking somebody's going to come in here and catch us. At that point, even we were still a little naive, and really the group of 7 girls, we were really kind of a good group of girls, not really fast hoes or running around doing a lot of stuff and drugs. We just didn't. We were really a good crop of women.
But I feel like when David Bowie offers you cocaine, you gotta take it, right?
I know, and I can't remember if I did or not. But I was like, I might have had just a little bit or something.
Hey. There's no judgment here. No judgment here.
But you know that stuff kind of makes you paranoid sometime and what have you. So it obviously drugs affect people in different ways and what have you. So and you know, and I found that other people and artists that we might have been exposed to also were doing it heavily into drugs. Another time I remember, I don't know if you guys know who Johnny Holiday is. He's a very famous European star. He's like the equivalent of Elvis Presley in Europe. Okay. Johnny Holiday. Huge, big. We worked with him and opened his show, The Love Machine. We did a couple of numbers and he would come out. One time it was like me and a couple of other people I will not name. We were always just kind of freelance and, you know, good spirited people. And we in fact, sometimes you try anything, but he invited us into his dressing room prior to us going on the show. So he had sitting out there what appeared to be coke. And so he said, you guys want a little hit for you, God, or whatever? We were like, okay. Took a little bit, whatever. Me and 2 of the other girls and just one of our musicians guys. We went out on stage. We were a very high-powered group. We were like Tina Turner, Temptations, Beyonce, J-Lo, all wrapped up into one. I mean, real high energy going out there. And I did a lot of the lead singing and stuff. But we only had thank God, I think 2 or 3 songs to sing. Because normally we do like an hour show. But we were opening for him. We got out there and then Oh my God. Oh my God. That shit. It was not cocaine. We did not know that. We were out there. We could barely get through the show. We were like, I'm not sure if it was heroin. I couldn't say.
Or angel
Whatever
dust,
it was,
maybe something.
or it was laced with something or whatever. And, that was a terrible experience. I mean, and that kind of shows you think you learn, but who knew? And I'm thinking this guy's going out there performing, taking this, whatever it was. I forgot what it was, but it was hallucinogenic. It was kind of crazy, whatever he had mixed in there. We were just, all of us were just, and me and the other girls were looking at each other. We couldn't believe it. We felt like we were just in the twilight zone, going through the thing. We had to finish the show. And I think when we came back off, we did throw up.
No.
That
might have been heroin then, yeah.
Oh my God!
But you made it through the performance, okay?
Well, yeah, we had to.
The show must go on, right? Show must go on.
So that kind of shows you too, mind over matter when you're doing some things. But of course, with drugs and being addicted and what have you, you think and you're chasing that first high and stuff sometimes, or whenever you get something in your head. But, we still have, I think, a certain amount of logic tucked away somewhere in our brains that can overcome certain things when we are trying to or indulging in drugs and alcohol. Like many times, and I am not proud to say this, when I've had too much alcohol, been flat out really freaking drunk, okay? Yeah. And I've been at a club or something, I've driven home. I don't even remember how I got home.
Yeah.
I don't remember how I've had sex with my husband sometimes. Wake up in the morning, and don't even remember having sex with my husband after I'm waking up to, what do we have? But that's what it does to you. Mm-hmm. Especially, you get a little frisky, you get a little high, you get do a little this, a little that and stuff. And, it just takes over your mind and body. And everybody, though, like I said, is so different. Me personally, I am a happy person when I do and indulge in anything. And I don't get belligerent. I don't cuss people out. I don't want to fight people. As of course, other people do get to that point. Some people pass out and everybody's so different. But I think somehow in my brain, thank God, I don't do that anymore. But that my rationale has really kind of equaled out to the other evil side that was taken over and says, drink another drink, have some more of this,
right,
have some more of that. But I've been out before in front of people and being a celebrity, and I was, intoxicated, and it wasn't a pretty thing. And people would say, "Oh man, your wife, she was drunk last night." You should hear her say things or sitting on people's laps and doing stuff. I'm like, having fun, because I'm so friendly and nice, and everybody knows and loves Kathleen and Miss Park. Well, not Miss Parker then, because I wasn't doing it quite then, but on The Price is Right and having a good time and this celebrity. But, I've had sometimes when I went to get my car in Beverly Hills at a couple places, the valets, they did not want to give me my car.
Oh.
Now, that is very bad when they say, nope, you can't drive.
Yeah.
They really didn't want to give me the car, but I'm like, oh, I'm okay. And I got home. Like I said, I don't remember even driving down the streets. I'm just, I don't want to say blessed, but somehow when that certain thing in your mind kicks in, even if you have had drugs or alcohol, people sometimes try to follow the right side of your mind instead of the left side.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just blessed I was able to do that. And it's the odds. How long can you keep driving drunk before you get caught?
Yeah.
Because you're going to get caught. And when you do, you don't want to. I never have, thank God, but I could have so many times if I had ever gotten pulled over. And my husband said, you know what? That's all they need to say. Kathleen Bradley, Parker's Beauty, Price is Right. That DUI, driving home.
Oh yeah, you would have been on TMZ or
all of it.
easily.
Yeah, and that's something I didn't want to do, but. It's just like, well, one more drink,
and
one more.
Getting caught with a DUI is, and I've been in places with people after they've been caught for a DUI, and it's you're lucky that you got caught and that you didn't, run into another car with like a family or somebody, hurt yourself or someone else. So, You know, there are tons of consequences when it comes to that.
There are, and it's terrible. I know some people, friends who have gotten them, and you do not want to drive drunk or intoxicated, especially nowadays, and especially don't be a black man driving while and remotely swerving or looking at your phone. You know, that's another form of intoxication. People don't realize texting while driving.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's almost as bad and equivalent to having a drink or something, because if you're not focused for that little short period of time, you've had your head down and not paying attention. It's, lights out, man.
Yeah.
Just, so many
that's what
horror
we're all
stories
addicted to
behind
now.
that.
We're all addicted to the phones now.
Yeah.
Just the whole world.
That's an addiction.
Yeah.
So, you guys
So it
might
sounds like, very often we have guests on the show who, in telling their stories, got arrested, did prison, overdosed, friends died, like all these terrible things happening, but it sounds like you never had any of those really, really heavy consequences, right? Yet you still came to the conclusion of, hey, I need to stop drinking. So would you unpack for us a little bit about like what, when was it that you started to think maybe this was a problem, and how did you, what was the process of you making that decision for yourself?
Well, I think probably the biggest point where I really started drinking heavily was when my brother died. My brother, Scotty B. I have 4 brothers. He was like closest to me in age. So he was like really, really close to me. He lived out here in Los Angeles, and he died unexpectedly in 1999. Mm-hmm. And when he did, I really went to a dark place. I would come home if I was I'm still on The Price is Right. I would come home as soon as I did, fix some dinner, do whatever, and I would start drinking. And I would drink so much, I would turn the music up really loud in the house. I had my daughter and my family on one side, my husband, and they kind of were compassionate towards me during that period of time. And I would even get so drunk, I'd go outside, and I call it howling at the moon. I just had to get out of here. And I was like so overwhelmed and crying and sobbing. And of course, alcohol is not the answer, but you think it is. You just want to find yourself in a whole nother place and world and try to escape. I think people use that as an escapism. And that's what I was trying to do at that point. That was my lowest point. And I would call my family and relatives back in Ohio, 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, because it was like 12 here. It's 3 hours different there. I wouldn't care. And they would just felt so bad for me. They would at least wouldn't hang up. They would allow me to get on the phone and just cry and just be sentimental and try to work it out and get it out, because it was so hurtful. It was just something I had not experienced that kind of pain before. Even when my father passed away, your father, mom, you kind of expect, but having a sibling die that you're so connected to and so close with.
And how old was Scotty when he passed?
Scotty was 49. He was 49. Scotty B, everybody loved him. We called him the rhinestone cowboy. He would always get rhinestones, and we call and Hollywood swinger. He would get the bell-bottom pants on. He'd get the little fur. He'd make these clothes, and he'd stud hats and everything. He was the one actually over in Vietnam. I got an opportunity to spend time with him when I went with the Miss Black America tour. Oh, and because they tell you when you go over there, they said if you have any relatives or family or anything you want to see there, they would arrange for them to be. We went to Cameron Bay. That's where he was stationed. So when we arrived, this is a good story. When we arrived that day, all the women and guys, we got off the plane, and guys were giving us flowers, and all the servicemen and everybody was so excited. And I was looking around for my brother and looking. I'm like, excuse me, where's my brother, Scotty? They said, he couldn't make it right now. He went out last night drinking with the guys and got a little too drunk and couldn't get up. I was outdone.
You've come all this way.
Came all the way over here from Hollywood, California.
So only thing, my sister's coming, drinking and shit. He couldn't even get his ass up out the bed to come greet me. I will never forget that.
I bet.
That's terrible.
But yeah, a lot of the servicemen who came back addicted to opiates. So that caused the whole thing with the servicemen who came back, and just the way they were treated afterwards. And that was
and that's actually when methadone clinics proliferated in the U.S. was after Vietnam.
I did not know.
So many servicemen came back.
Yeah, but I just had it was something I went through and had to go through for a period of time. And the thing about drinking, people and heavily drinking, the next morning it's even worse.
Yeah.
The hangovers will get you. Boy, hangovers are terrible. Hangovers and being too far drunk. People pray, and Lord Jesus, I'll never do this again. How many have said that before?
Oh, many times.
Once or twice or 20 or a couple thousand.
I've literally been on my knees in front of a church at in the middle of the night,
really?
begging.
Yeah, oh my God, it's horrible. And so you have to see if the pleasure outweighs the horror of having that terrible hangover, of drinking too much, of throwing up, of being in a situation in a club or something. It's horrible.
So was there a time when you thought like, this isn't honoring Scotty? Because I'm sure this isn't what Scotty wants for me, doesn't want me sitting around crying and being drunk all the time. And did that help to get your head?
It did. I think it was a phase, and I thought about that. But my character as a person, which you might already can kind of seduce, right? I want to say seduce. Imagine that I do have a strong constitution in terms of a good sense of balance in my life. Uh-huh. I've always had, thank God, because my mother, she was a very strong woman. My dad actually was an alcoholic. Mm-hmm. Albert Bradley, my dad really drank a lot. My mother left him for drinking a lot. Mm. And so I think basically just having the courage and knowledge and thinking, it's getting a little out of hand, and how often can you keep bugging people and stuff. So over a period of time, as life goes on, after we have a deceased person in our life that we care for so much, there's phases. And that was a phase I was going through, in the death phase of mourning my brother. And so I just kind of segued out of it. And, it was just something that I had to go through. I don't regret I went through it, because I really kind of, putting the music on loud and blasting around. And, I can envision, I'm in the room right now where I used to just stand there and hear the music. And, oh, God. But I'm past it. It faded. It faded. I healed myself, put it like that.
And so was that when you decided like, hey, I'm done drinking? Or was that just kind of the first time you remember, hey, this was getting bad?
I still drink. And I never thought to not ever drink, but because I think the older I was getting, the less drinking I did. And I just drink like on occasion. And especially now, the older I get, I like to cook a lot, and I always feel like having a nice, good glass of red wine while I cook helps the food taste better.
Yeah.
So, but, and I don't drink every day. I like different stuff. I never have any one drink that I favor, except maybe like my little Cosmopolitan. I like a little cocktail. But I prefer drinking at home than going out so much, unless I'm at dinner. I don't hardly go on the nightclub scene anymore. I do some red carpet events and different things of that nature, but maybe I'll have a glass of wine. I really kind of stay away from the hard liquor.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. If drinking and people know drinking, there's different types of high with different types of liquor.
Right.
Believe the brown stuff, woo, that's the worst.
That used to
and white stuff. That's okay, not as bad. And then you have your wines and beers and stuff. But
before I got too out of control with the drugs and I was just drinking a lot, it seemed like every time I drank something brown, I would wake up with a broken hand or a black eye or something like that. I get into trouble with that. So for you, it seemed like it was more like a situational thing. It was a bout of sadness because of your brother that you just needed to say, I can't let this control my life anymore. It's bringing me down. I need to take control of it.
Right. And it wasn't fair to the family and everybody and the kids trying to go to school. And they really felt so bad for me. And so, and husband would come out and say, come on, honey, come to bed and whatever. And it was like I had to get through it. I'd go 1 hour, a couple hours every night, not every night, but when it hit me to do it, I would. And then, that sometimes drinking, it compounds your sentiments, and it really made me even, more emotional. And it just does that to you. And it's like, oh shit, why you're going to drink this? You're going to get sentimental and start crying. Just have a sip.
Yeah.
It does that. It warms your innards. It does things to you.
It's a depressant. Some people think that it's like, oh, this is going to make me happy. And then, some people just have that chemical, when it gets to them, all they do is get mad and get, sobby and no fun.
Yep, that's right. It doesn't always work like that, So just like they said, you got to know when to hold them, know when to fold them. And right now, the older I get, though, and I find that I can't even, my mind or brain or just whatever, when I have a drink, I don't like the way it feels anymore.
Right.
I might have like a little shot of the little cinnamon fireball or something, that little thing, just for a minute. I'll get a little buzz off of that. I can get a little buzz off of a glass of wine.
And then you can put it down and then, say, I've had enough.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Put it down. Or I'll have a glass of wine. We went to dinner the other day and I ordered a glass of wine and I was eating and talking and everything. And we were almost finished eating. I looked over, I'm like, damn, I barely touched my wine.
Good for you.
But then at the end, I went, I finished that wine for $10, okay?
All right, so I think we need to talk about what people most know you from, how you're most recognized.
There are 2 claims to fame I have, and thank God for that. One is, of course, I was the first Black model as one of Barker Beauties on The Price is Right.
And you were there for 10 years, right?
10 years, from 1990 to 2000.
I love me some Price is Right.
I love
me some. It
was great when
you
Bob
skipped
Barker
school.
When you stayed home from school.
Yeah, when you stayed home from
Price is Right was always
if he was sick, it was Price is Right. And I always wanted to do the yodeling mountain climber.
Oh, that's the best one.
The mountain climber?
Yeah.
I love Plinko.
Plinko, yeah.
See, everybody likes Plinko. I like the mountain climber.
I like the sound effects for it. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. But when you just have to drop something down, it goes down. But, the thing about it, The Price is Right was and still is a mecca for many people.
Oh, man.
They come from far and near. You don't have to have an IQ of 115, 120 to know something. Just the basic prices of groceries and different things and cars and items.
I mean, if I went on The Price is Right versus Jeff Bezos, I think I would win.
You know how much it costs to buy a gallon of milk or, a box of macaroni and cheese.
And you know what? That's what I think too now. Every price is different of an item based on your geographics, where you live, and what stores you go into. You got the 99-cent stores, you got the dollar stores. You might buy some milk.
Then you got the Walmart milk, you got the Target milk, you got the Whole Foods milk, right?
Do you know, Kathleen, what one of Bob Barker's side hustles were? He had Bob Barker products. So if you were incarcerated, or if you were in any state-run facility, setting. Any sort of institutional place, your toothpaste, your deodorant, it was all Bob Barker brand.
But do you know that was not the Bob Barker?
See, I didn't think it was. I didn't think it was. It's different Bob Barker.
Everybody thought that Bob Barker had institution. That wasn't him. There's a different Bob Barker.
Oh, well, thank you for clearing that up.
We were all shocked. What Bob Barker?
You're trying to tell our guests who knew Bob Barker. You're trying to tell her about Bob Barker.
No, but it's
I stand corrected.
That you say that. People still think that. And it's quite okay to think that because it was out there for many, many years. and people thought Bob Barker had connections with the
Okay.
prisons and different
I thought
things.
it was just a really good side hustle, but he
Hey,
did.
I think I wouldn't have been mad at him for doing
Right.
it.
But he did help a lot of pets get spayed and neutered. So that is a fact.
That was a side hustle. He ran clinics across the country. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, but it was great working with the girls and him for all those years when I did, except when Diane Parkinson accused him of sexual harassment. Then his name was tainted, and he was not the same after that. You know, he did get vindicated, but it's very difficult to overcome that kind of thing. And people still have suspicions in their mind. Well, did he or didn't he? Or she said he did, so he must have, right?
So
you don't believe he did?
Question about The Price is Right.
Okay.
So at the time in in 1990, when you became the first black model on The Price is Right, what did you have any sense of, I'm breaking another wall, I'm taking a step forward for women of color? Was there that kind of fanfare, or was it just like, I'm here?
Oh, absolutely, it was. It was because the show had been on for 17 years prior to them putting a black model on the show. So that's quite a long time. People were watching the show and what have you. And, it's always good. And especially back in the 1990, 89 era, when they needed more diversity for CBS in particular on TV. CBS had to add more people to a lot of their daytime programming, which Price is Right was one of them. So obviously to have a black model was the goal. And when I landed the job, I was just very proud. I had a lot of interviews with some of the different BET television shows and a lot of the black periodicals and newspapers and what have you. And I was very proud. I, went to a lot of red carpets and was noted for, hey, here's Kathleen Bradley,
So
Price is Right model.
What was it like getting that job? Like, what was the process? Did they ask you the prices of bread? Like, did you just, did you have to turn things a lot to show that?
No, actually, I tell the story, and it was like 3 months after I had my last child, my son, I got the call. I just had a baby, 3 months. And normally my body in Hollywood, your body and your face are your passport. Mm-hmm. So I was in relatively good shape, really lost that, what they call that baby fat real quickly. So you never know what was going to happen. But my agent called me and said, Kathleen, there's a possibility. How would you like to be a Barker's Beauty on The Price is Right? And they're looking for a black model. But, you go there, you have to wear a swimsuit in front of the producers. She said, how's your body? I said, okay. I think I had 1 week to prep time to really shed a lot, maybe 5 more pounds. But I did go in, I looked pretty good and talked to the people, of course, who's not going to like me, right?
Yeah.
But I poured it on, and did whatever. They liked me. So they called me back for a couple of shows. The models that they liked, they had them come back to do real live shows. And I will never forget, though, the first time I did go into the studio to do a little quick shot at some of the products before I went on. They put me back. They showed me what to do and all this and everything. And after I finished, everybody in the crew clapped for me. They had seen all these other models and people coming in. They were clapping. I looked around. That made me feel so good. And one of the guys said, you're the best one we saw. You're the first ones ever got a hand clap.
Wow.
So I just actually, after all that, finally, after 6 months, I did about a bunch of shows. And so did some of the other models. And they finally chose me. And I think a couple of reasons was, obviously, I did a good job. And I was used to being in front of a live audience. Having been trained in the singing group and traveling and performing in front of thousands and thousands of people, I was like really comfortable and at home. And plus with the other models, Diane, Janice, and Holly, they were pretty much my age range. Because they had some of the other little younger models coming in. They were green. They were like a little timid and what have you. I didn't give a damn.
You already had your stage presence and,
my stage presence. Plus, I could talk to the girls behind the stage when we had downtime of practicing about my worldly travels and things I had done and people that I knew. So I kind of fit right in. They liked me. I think a few times I was told I was a little little bit over the hill talking about my lifestyle and what have you. So I had to reel it back a little bit and become a little more humble, but it worked out.
So the other big claim to fame,
this
is a little movie.
You gotta say it.
It's not Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. It's
Friday.
Right. So you guys have to say it. What do the guys say?
Hey, Miss Parker.
So before we get to all that, I just have to think, because there is, I forget exactly what he says, but Chris Tucker says something under his breath about you after he says, "Hi, Miss Parker." Did you ever get any of that in your personal life when you're out with your family, with your friends, trying to leave, and somebody says something just a little bit that you maybe not have appreciated? Because I could imagine that somebody who didn't know any better would just come up and say that to you.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Wait, what does he say right after?
I'm not saying it.
And listen, when we were, when you're gonna let me.
That's right.
We curse on this show, but like we were talking earlier, yes, it's been 27 years since Friday was out, right?
Wow.
So I mean, people recognize me all the time, Miss Parker, here and there, this place and that place, and the guys recognize me more so than some of the women.
Yeah,
I'd imagine so.
No, some people say, I know you look familiar. And some of them know. I said, I was on The Price is Right for 10 years. They said, oh, okay.
No, that's not it. That's not it.
Hey, you also might have seen me as Miss Parker on Friday. They're like, that one just gets them. They can't believe it. Even the women. Honey, babe, that's Miss Parker. They love Miss Parker. Miss Parker, and then I have had people say, when you going to let me run? I said, what you say, honey? They like it when I kind of play back with them. And it is just hilarious. One time, my husband and I went to Las Vegas for a big fight. One of the big fight, I can't even think of one of the guys, fighters. Anyway, they were having the weigh-in at the hotel. He and I went. And they invited me to be there as one of the celebrities, just to hang out and stuff and everything. And it was noisy and loud and stuff going on. The guy got up on stage and he said, yeah, we got a couple of celebrities here, so-and-so's here, such here. I want to call up to the stage this very special young lady. And he was saying and talking, and everybody was talking. He said, you may recognize her. She's one of the first black models on The Price is Right, Kathleen Bradley. Price is Right, Kathleen Bradley. Everybody's talking. He said, okay. How many of you guys saw Friday out there? This is Miss Parker from Friday.
They go nuts.
The crowd goes wild.
And everybody to the front of the stage, and because they were standing around, milling around and everything. And it was amazing. But you should hear my husband tell the story. He said, man, all these guys wanted to come up there and see my wife. And people ask me, how do I feel when everybody in the United States wants to fuck my wife? He said, that's right. Just keep those checks coming.
Right.
But it was amazing. We tell that story. It was really funny. I'm telling you, they love Miss Parker.
That's awesome. So what was it like working with such a great ensemble cast? I mean, that has to be one of the greatest ensemble casts of all time for a film.
Absolutely. No one ever imagined that it would get to the height and success that it got to at that point in time. We actually had, I really only worked with Chris Tucker, Ice Cube, and my husband, Tony Cox, and Bernie Mac, of course. In my scenes. So unfortunately, not everybody got to work with everyone.
Right.
I think the most part in time, it might overlap sometime. Like I met Regina King on set because, depending on that particular day, who were doing their scenes. And we shot everything so quickly, so fast. And what a great honor and pleasure it was to work with F. Gary Gray, the director. And if people don't know about him, my God, he went on to do The Negotiator, Set It Off, French Connection. Italian Job. Oh my God, so many things.
Yeah.
Incredible guy. I mean, he gave us such free reign to do what most of us do best and be natural. He'd give you a certain amount of direction, and of course, you had your script. Everybody was going off script. but it worked.
How is Bernie Mac to work with? Because he just is one of my absolute all-time favorites. Just
Legend.
hilarious.
He was a great guy to work with. I mean, basically, he had that scene outside where he pulled up and talked to Smokey and Craig. And then when he saw Miss Parker, Miss Parker. And when we were inside, because actually we never really had a scene together outside, I went in the house. So when we had downtime and they were resetting the cameras for us to come out, because people don't know the business, you have to get in the close up and they set the cameras. He and I had a lot of time to talk and relate and become really good friends. And it was just, a good thing standing in there waiting for them to set the scene up and relating and talking to him. And we became somewhat friends after that and everything. And, it was just so sad what had happened to him and so untimely. But, his work speaks for itself.
It does.
See, I was more curious about Ice Cube because this is,
that launched his.
This is right when Ice Cube was making that transition from hard gangsta rap pioneer to family friendly movie star.
Right. Household
right?
name. That's the one that turned him into a household name, essentially.
Yeah, it did. It put so many people on the map, with Chris Tucker and everybody. But Ice Cube, I didn't spend a lot of time with those guys, unfortunately, at the time. And they were across the street. I never had really.
That's right. They were across the street.
Yeah.
Like I said, I never really interacted with them aside from just that scene across the street.
Yeah,
and we did have a little rehearsal time to go over the lines and say some things, and that was it pretty much. And I unfortunately hadn't had opportunity to see them that often afterward over the years. I saw Ice Cube a couple of times in different places, and then I would see though recently. Maybe within the last 5 or 6 years, I would run into Chris Tucker every now and then playing golf. I love to play golf. He loves to play golf as well. And I would see him at Anthony Anderson's golf tournament and at Cedric the Entertainer's golf tournament and reunite. It's always just so much fun. And of course, everybody actually met back up. Unfortunately for John's funeral, my mind is leaving me. The dad, come on, who died? Witherspoon.
John Witherspoon.
Yeah, Witherspoon's funeral. Everybody came out for the funeral. It was an incredible funeral. His untimely death. That was very sad as well. I know his wife very well. She's a model friend of mine. And it was a huge, big time, nice, wonderful celebration for his homecoming. But a lot of us did get a chance to reunite and see each other again after all those years.
Bittersweet reunion.
Yeah. David Letterman actually did one of the eulogies. He stood up and talked. He and John were very good friends. Yeah.
He's one of my absolute heroes.
That's like your hero.
Yeah, David Letterman.
Letterman, yeah.
100%.
Well,
is that time?
I think we're getting to that time, Miss Parker.
I don't know if anybody prepped you, but
you know what? Before we go, I wanted to touch on some things now that's really plaguing our society with the fentanyl.
Oh yeah,
and the addiction. And actually, it's very hard to get addicted to fentanyl, people, because that shit will kill you.
Don't even kill you before you get addicted. Yeah.
Right now, to the youth. Hopefully you guys take this seriously. Absolutely, the deaths have tripled within the last year. But you high school students, especially out there trying to experiment, back in our day, we would experiment. I mean, I tried acid and different things back in my day when I was coming up. But some of those things were not like it is today. Like it is far more dangerous to try to experiment or take a pill or buy a pill from a stranger in the damn park. Or somebody selling that shit on campus. Kids, don't do it. If you value your life, your family, your loved ones, don't do it. If you see your friends doing it or somebody selling it, tell somebody. You can tell somebody without being a rat, because who wants a dead rat You know, I mean, I'd rather have a live rat than a dead person. Put it like that. And your families, think about your families. People don't think about their family. They're being selfish when they do stuff of that nature. So the epidemic is grossly out of hand, and just please avoid it altogether. You know, if you're gonna even drink, try a drink, and kids, try to have or ask your family or parents. Some parents are real cool, and if you're of age, try to experiment with them at home. Try it first, because even if people and these young kids get out, they're 21, go to Las Vegas, and they start drinking. Drinking is not for everyone. They're not going to stop making alcohol because they make too much damn money on you getting drunk and keep repeatedly buying it.
That's
and
true.
Then it's a vicious circle. And then you have to go to places like where you guys know, the drug addiction places, and everybody's making money. And here you are spending money, getting sick, and possibly going to die. So just be moderate in your activities, and you're smoking and you're drinking, because I'm not saying don't ever do that. But first of all, never do the fentanyl, never take those pills. You don't know where they're coming from. But other stuff is out there. And the marijuana and all that, you know, you're going to experiment, but just do it in a good, safe place.
Take it easy. Be responsible.
Right. Exactly.
So, Kathleen, we like to lighten it up towards the end with something we call rapid fire question time.
It's rapid fire question time.
So we're going to ask you a few questions just right off the hip. As soon as you think of the answer, go for it.
That's dangerous.
First question. What is your go-to song when you've had a rough day and you just want to sing something to help you get everything out of there?
Early in the Morning by Charlie Wilson, the Gap Band.
Nice.
I gotta get up early in the morning. I told my kids play that at my funeral. Go ahead.
So this is probably the only time where this is a really feasible question. So the movie of your life comes out, the biopic. Who do you have play you when you're coming to Hollywood?
Angela Bassett. Sorry.
You know, perhaps Paula Patton. And there's another young lady, I forget her name. She's on SWAT now. She's the love interest for Shamar Moore.
I don't know.
Okay, we'll look it up and put it on there.
All right.
Please.
So Ben and Jerry from Ben and Jerry's Ice Cream, they show up at your house. They say, we want to do an ice cream flavor as a tribute to you. What do you want us to put in the ice cream, and what do you want to call the ice cream?
Ooh. Oh my God. Booby bonbons. I don't know.
Booby Bomb Bombs.
What's in it?
Yeah, what's in the Booby Bomb Bombs?
Milk? I don't know. Some real milk.
Real milk.
I don't know.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Bonbons, yeah.
Okay.
Milky.
One
A
piece
little
of
tip with chocolate on it, you know.
fantastic. We're gonna have to get the graphics design guy to
Yeah, please,
make a little
uh-huh.
one of those we could put on there for the reels.
It has to be a cone.
It
you
does.
know,
Yeah.
shaped like a boob with a little chocolate on it.
So got me blushing, Miss Parker. So one piece of advice that you could have given yourself when you were on your way to Los Angeles. Now, if you could go back in time, what would be that piece of advice?
Wow. Just maybe to watch out and not be so free with dealing with certain people.
Okay.
You know? Yeah.
So
We'll dive
Really
into
back
that
to
the
the-
next time we have you on. We'll dive deep into that one.
Yeah.
So last question. So you met a lot of famous guys over the course of your life. I'm sure lots of them hit on you. Who is the most famous guy that hit on you, and did it work?
Oh boy.
First of all, none of it worked.
Yeah.
First of all, there were many famous guys that hit on me. Some of them, and I can't answer that really. Some of them were really cool. Some of them were like overnight. Some of them were maybe a couple months. But obviously, in this business and trying to be with a big star, famous person, it's tough, not that I have a big ego, but it just, especially when I was younger, it just didn't work out. Because if I knew now what I know, if I knew then what I know now, it would have been a different story. Yeah. I could have been living in Beverly Hills with.
They got that code of silence. It's like the mafia. It's the mafia. She ain't giving us no names.
Yeah. we could dub it in.
Drake. It was Drake.
Drake.
It was Drake.
All right. Well, Kathleen, thank you so much for taking the time out and coming out and, giving the young people some hope out there. We really appreciate it.
My pleasure. Absolutely. I forgot to tell them to get my book. I meant to get my book.
Oh, really quick. Put it up. You got it? Do you have it?
Yeah, grab your book.
It's called Backstage at the Price is Right. Memoirs of a Barker Beauty. Let me take this light off 1 minute. My help here. See if you can see a little better.
Okay. And where can, do you have a website where people can get this, or is it just on Amazon?
It's on Amazon.
Okay.
On Amazon. Plenty of nice shots of me, Bob Barker, and everybody.
All right. And not the Bob Barker who made deodorant that I had to use.
No, the real Bob Barker.
Okay.
Yeah, and it encompasses the 10 years I was on The Price is Right and everything. And all the beauty. It's a really good book, a very good read. It's a lot of fun. And yeah.
Okay.
We'll make sure and throw the link in the show notes so that people can click on it and find it.
Yeah, my Instagram and all that.
All right. Thank you so much, Kathleen.
Make sure, everybody just have a great life and think smart and look out for the people around you and be compassionate. People are just too hardcore, and get your head out of the damn phone and texting.
You heard it here first, folks.
Read a book. Do something.
Just one more time, just got to say thank you, Kathleen, for joining us today. And it's to all our viewers, our loyal listeners, thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, follow, and share. And as we like to say here on Toxicology, there's a thousand ways in and a thousand ways out. And we hope you find yours. Hold me.